Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 4, Text 31. And it's all taking place in the Krishna village community here in Delaware. No davo nwa piman nwa no yad gune nadita prabhu atomad vayunam lokam grahayan nihatis tato no davo nwa piman nwa no yad gune nadita prabhu Atomad vayunham lokam grahayam ihatistatu no davona pimam no yagunhe nadita prabhuhi atomad vayunham lokam grahanam ihatistatu. So, yes. Anyone else? Any ladies to try? Okay. The word for word translation is not there. I love the word for word translation. Okay. So, word for word synonyms, translation and purpose by divine grace is confirmed Acharya Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami and Prabhupada. No, this is not a word for this. This is not for text 31. You passed it. Yeah. Na, not. Udavaha, udava. Anu, slightly. Api, also. Mat, to myself. Nyunaha, inferior. Yat, because. Gune, by the modes of material nature. Na, no. Arid dataha, affected. Prabhuhi, master. Attaha, therefore. Mad vayunam, knowledge of me, the personality of Godhead. Lokam, the world. Grahayan, just to disseminate. Iha, in this world. Tistatu, may remain. Translation. Uddhava is not inferior to me in any way because he is never affected by the modes of material nature. Therefore, he may remain in this world in order to disseminate specific knowledge of the personality of Godhead. Purport. The specific qualification for becoming a representative of the Lord is to be unaffected by the material modes of nature. The highest qualification of a person in a material world is to be a Brahmana, But since a Brahmana is in the mode of goodness, to be a Brahmana is not sufficient for becoming a representative of the Lord. One has to transcend the mode of goodness also and be situated in unalloyed goodness, unaffected by any of the qualities of material nature. This stage of transcendental qualification is called Sudasattva or Vasudeva. And in this stage, the science of God can be realized. As the Lord is not affected by the modes of material nature, so a pure devotee of the Lord is also not affected by the modes of nature. That is the primary qualification for being one with the Lord. A person who is able to attain this transcendental qualification is called Jivan Mukta, or liberated. Even though he is apparently in material conditions, this liberation is achieved by one who constantly engages in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. In the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1-187, it is stated. Can you move it on? Ihayasya Hare Dashe Kamana Manasa Gira Ni Kalaswa Pi Awastasu Jivan Muktaha Saushite. Anyone who, by his actions, mind and words, lives only for the transcendental loving service of the Lord is certainly a liberated soul, even though he may appear to be in a condition of material existence. Uddhava was in such a transcendental position, and thus he was selected to be the factual representative of the Lord in his bodily absence from the vision of the world. Such a devotee of the Lord is never affected by the material strength, intelligence, or even renunciation. Just the devotee of the Lord can withstand all onslaughts of material nature, and therefore he is known as Goswami. Only such Goswamis can penetrate the mysteries of the Lord's transcendental loving relationships. Om Jnana Timirandasya Ganazana Salakaya Saksoda Meditam Jena Tasmai Si Guru Be Namaha Suchetayam Anovistam Stafitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupam Kadamayam Dadati Swa Padantikam Vandiham Si Gurum Si Yutapadakamalam Si Gurun Vaishnavam Cha Sirupam Sagajatam Saha Gana Ragunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadveta Sarvadvuta Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Pada Saha Gana Lalita Vishakam Vitamscha. Hey Krishna, Karuna Sindhu, Dina Bandhu Jagatpate, Gopesha Gopika Kanta, Radha Kanta Namostate, Tapta Kanchana Gorange, Radhe Vrindavaneshwari, Vrishabhanu Sute Devi, Pranamami Hari Priya. Vanchakalpatari Vacha, Kripasundam Vyaya Vacha, Patitanam Pavinam Vyo, Vaishnavi Vyo, Namo Namaha. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita, Gadadhara, Sri Vasari, Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare Hare. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pisaya Bhutalisma, the Bhakti Vedanta Swami Itinamani, Namaste, Saraswati Devi, Gaura Bhani, Charani, Nevisisa Swami Bhali, Pasatma Disatari. Vande Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Nityananda Sahodato, Buddhadaya Puspavanto, Chita Chandu Tamam. So, this text is giving us some insight about the qualification of one who has to be a representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Krishna was winding up his pastimes on the early planet, and this is what we call succession planning. So someone plans ahead of time. If I'm not there, who helps out with the services they have to do? So here is a priesthood mission, and Krishna came to help to rejuvenate the Krishna conscious culture of the conditioned souls, disseminating knowledge about himself, the relationship of the living entities with him, and how to render service to him, become purified so that the living entity can have access to the transcendental abode, Goloka Vrindavan. But he was living, he was getting to live. And so the question is, who is there? So the followers of the Lord, the devotees of the Lord, they were in a form of uncoded anxiety. But the Lord understood, he is Ishvara Paramakrishna, Sakshit Ananda Vigraha. He is in the heart region of everyone, and he knows what we are thinking. He knows what our feelings are. So he was aware of the conditioned state of his devotees, and therefore he tried to solace them by making some provisions and reassuring the devotees that, yes, listen, I will not be there. After in a short while, I will be leaving. But don't worry. Uddhava is here. Uddhava is representing me. And you think Uddhava is different from me? He said, no. Uddhava does the perfect representation of myself. In other words, Uddhava is a Goswami. He is able to penetrate the inner meanings of the Lord's activities and be able to disseminate same to the devotees of the Lord. Therefore, Krishna gives them reassurance here that Uddhava is not inferior to me in any way, because he is never affected by the modes of material nature. We have three modes of material nature: the mode of passion, the mode of goodness, and ignorance. So these modes are always vying for supremacy. Who takes control over the embodied soul? At any moment, there is this competition with the modes. Who takes over control of our thinking, feeling, and willing, of our actions? And therefore, you find some people, they're very, they're very sober, very serene, and at some point in time of the day, you find that, they're very passionate. So this shows that such a person, the monopassion overwhelms him or her, because there is this constant competition that is going on. And because of this constant competition, the living being navigates through a series or it produces different permutations. And that characterizes our being at every moment, at any given time of our existence. The permutations of the modes of material nature is what really gives rise to our different modus operandi, the way we operate, and modus vivendi, the manner we operate. So this is material nature. Krishna set it up in this way that although we may not know what we are experiencing or what we are passing through, but these things are real, they are in place, and they are observable in society. You can observe these things with some people, and this is the root of this. It means that just people they are affected by the modes of material nature. Now, such people who are affected by the modes of material nature cannot become authentic representatives of the Lord, because then when they get overwhelmed by the mode of ignorance, then the ignorance dominates their life. When they become overwhelmed by the mode of passion, then the qualities of the mode of passion become dominant in their life. And when they are overwhelmed by the mode of goodness, then the qualities of the mode of goodness become dominant in their lives. And then people will wonder what's going on. Yeah, but this is the whole secret about the different ways that people operate in the different modes of material nature, which gives rise to different modus operandi and different modus vivendi. So, Prabhupada mentions in the purport that those who are affected by the three modes of material nature, representation of the Lord cannot be sustainably achieved. And therefore, Lord Krishna is mentioning, is giving some reassurance that Uddhava is not different from him. Uddhava is not inferior to him. In other words, you see, even Uddhava, sometimes people see Uddhava, even broadly speaking, sometimes people see Uddhava and they take him for Krishna. When Uddhava went to Vrindavan, people were thinking that he's Krishna. He said, no, he's not Krishna. He's Uddhava. He's very close to Krishna. So, the point here is that we're bringing this to our own lives. We are affected. We are being bombarded by the modes of passion, ignorance, and goodness. Goodness is the level where the platform where one is able to appreciate higher principles, higher knowledge, and cultivate transcendental knowledge. With the mode of passion, all that one is striving for is to placate the sensory modalities and the mind. And this is where we find a bunch of people on the planet are enslaved by the sensory modalities and the mind. Now, people work so hard. Activists, anti-slavery activists, they work so hard, resulting to the abolition of slavery. But nobody's working so hard in the government sector, even in the non-profits. People are not working so hard like they did to abolish slavery. We're not working so hard to free ourselves from mental slavery and slavery to the sensory modalities. But a representative of the Lord must be free from the influence from the undue influence of the mind and the senses. And how do we get there is the very essence of devotional service. We Godasas, we are slaves to the mind and the senses, but we can also become Goswamis if we embark on the journey of devotional service. It's a journey, it's a process. And therefore, sometimes people wonder why someone else is not interested in devotional service. Everyone does not have sufficient merit. Some people are just satisfied with being good dasas for the rest of their lives because they don't have sufficient merit. Lord Brahma observes all those Krishna's friends playing around with Krishna in the pasturing ground, and he came up with this whole conceptualization that all these people, all these boys hanging out with Krishna, playing, resting on his thighs and climbing on his shoulders, they have accumulated heaps and heaps of pious credits, pious merits. from previous lives of austerities in devotional service to Lord Krishna. So if we want to get close to Lord Krishna, we want to become Goswamis, the process is given to us. Lord Chaitanya has given us this process, and it's pretty very simple to take to the process of devotional service, beginning with hearing and chanting Krishna's holy names. And as simple as the process may look or may seem to be, still we need to be meticulous. We need to be very much detailed in terms of what we are doing, and what we need to understand what we are doing. Because if we do understand what we are doing or what we are saying, that will create a greater gravity in terms of the results. It will produce a higher performance rate, and also will engender innovative ideas. So, we need someone to guide us in our lives. And therefore, Lord Krishna had left whatever behind. He was getting ready to leave, but then he told, this is also what we call succession planning. You're not there, and then somebody else has to do your job. So Krishna, he says, a good example for us. You're not there, who does your job? We have to train people in our different services so that if we're physically incapacitated or we're traveling, someone else is in our shoes doing that service for us. This is exactly what Krishna is teaching us here. So succession planning is so important, and yet in most cases, in most organizations, in most religious institutions, that is not being seriously taken into consideration. And so it is important that we train people to become Goswamis. The reason is that everyone is capable of being trained. If we have a buccal cavity, we have a mouth and a tongue, and we have a brain, we can be trained. Why not? Because we see in the case of Prabhupada, when he came to America in 1966, established his Krishna consciousness movement. And he made potheads, drug addicts, people who were like social misfits. But then, this same process of devotional service transformed them into Goswamis. Most of them are Goswamis. The people governing our movement, the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, you go to the backgrounds, especially those that joined the early time with Prabhupada. Some of them were even hippies. But they were transformed. Just see the transformative potency of devotional service. They became transformed from Godasa to Goswamis. So yes, it is possible. And what is good for the goose is good for the gander. If this is possible for someone, we are also human beings. Those people, they are not Vishnu Tattva. Now we say, they are Vishnu Tattva, and so we cannot do it. No, we can also do it. They are Jiva Tattva. We are also Jiva Tattva. This is a good example. What A can do, we should think B can also do it. And there's no need for procrastination. There is no need to say, in this lifetime I'm not going to make it, maybe in the next life. That is Hridaya Dubhalya, weakness of heart. And we should not allow weakness of heart to overrule us in our devotional life. Because that is a great impediment, even in the areas of material professional development. If we have this self-deficit or self-defeat philosophy, that we cannot do it, then we may not be able to do it. But if we are very optimistic and we are determined to do it, Krishna also empowers us to do it. And therefore it is important for us to understand that everyone is supposed to be a representative of Krishna. And it's just a matter of training, following meticulously what Prabhupada has given to us. Chanting 16 rounds at least every day, doing some service to Lord Krishna, visiting the temple, having Sangha, visiting the Dham. Those who have not been to Vrindavan or Mayapur, we should plan on visiting these places because these are our theaters, and the environment impacts on values. When we go to a spiritual environment, whether we like it or not, it facilitates devotional improvement. The quality of our devotion improves. And this is not just some religious dogma. According to, what's the name of this professor? The field theory, propounded by Professor Lewin, of a German psychologist called Professor Lewin. In 1938, he developed this. 39, he developed this theory. Experiments. He experimented on some subject matters, and then developed this theory of the field, which brought to bear that the environment impacts on behavior. And we go to the theaters, we go to the dam, we go to the temple because of the environment. Because when we go to these places, the activities that are going on in these places 24/7, they are spiritual activities. So the environment is so charged with spirituality. And we step on those type of environments, they help to facilitate our growth towards the status of Goswami. And so, it is not something that we say, there are some special people who have to be Goswamis. You're a human being, you can. I can. Why not? I remember one time when I was younger, when I joined the movement, when I was in Africa. So my Guru Maharaja, Bhakti Swami, he visited, and we were seeing him off to the airport. And one of the leaders, one of the temple presidents, he said, "Maharaj, you know that we cannot do what you are doing." So he said, but then what is the use of training you? He said, what's the use of training you? Yeah, that thing still it still clicks in my head. So yeah, we are meant to be trained to come to the status of Goswamis and be representative of Krishna. Simple. Any comments or questions?
That is so spirit of preaching. So that's so enthusiasm. Thank you, Nana. I have question and comment also.
Okay.
I see others has any questions or comments on this, Maharaj. I really appreciate for giving this. And last statement you said, it is very inspiring. Everybody thinks that it's for them. I'm just a spectator. I'm just participating. We don't realize that. It is for me. I need to take that in that spirit. I need to be part of it. So I'm glad you quoted Bhakti Swami Maharaj's statement. What is the purpose of training you if you cannot do? This is a very wonderful statement Krishna made to Uddhava. He says that, he is none different than me, something like that. He says, Uddhava is not inferior to me in any way. It's a big thing. So I thought it's only for Uddhava. You're saying anybody who can practice bhakti and sadhana, Prabhupada sadhana, free from three modes.
Yeah.
But still, how Krishna is so liberal and magnanimous that he's not inferior than me. How can people take in a wrong way this message?
Well, the whole idea is that Krishna is talking here about the quality of Uddhava in correlation to his quality. See, the jiva is infinitesimal, and Krishna is, unlimited. So we cannot become Krishna in any way, in terms of quantity. But qualitatively, we can attain that status of pure devotional service. We can attain the status of pure Krishna consciousness and become one in quality with the Lord. So, by Krishna saying that Uddhava is not different, is not inferior to him, he's really talking about the qualitative value. It's not talking about the quantitative value, because quantitatively no one can be equal to Krishna. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, and that is where, in our understanding, very important for us. Okay. So you're saying qualitative difference is not there because one becomes pure.
Yeah.
Like Krishna. One can become pure like Krishna.
A pure soul, basically has all the qualities of the spirit identity, Sat, Chit, and Nanda. But then that same quality is what characterizes Krishna's identity. But right here, we are in conditioned existence, so we are misidentifying with the body, and we don't seem to even understand or even appreciate the fact that we are characterized by Sat, Chit, and Nanda. All that we're thinking about is just the opposite.
Mm.
Yeah.
And another point I can understand that, it's not just Prabhupada who preached. It's not just Prabhupada who preached. We also has to take in the same spirit.
Oh yeah. See, that's exactly what Bhakti Swami implied. Now, because this senior, or one of his senior leaders, was saying, well, we are not able to do what you're doing, And he said, but then what's the use of training you?
Yeah, Maharaj.
If we have that understanding that we can become what is desired of us, what Krishna desired of us, what our gurus desired of us, everyone can really be trained to become a representative of Krishna. That's the point. It's just that sometimes some people think that, well, I cannot be that. I am a super conditioned soul, and I will wait for millions of lifetimes to come. But that is a self-defeating philosophy, and we shouldn't create that type of room in our consciousness at all. Prabhupada also promises that those who stay in his movement, in his ISKCON, and they're following the Four Noble Principles, and they render service in this movement, they are chanting 16 rounds every day at least, he will make them eligible to go back home, back to God. And we've seen that in our movement in so many cases. People that we think, they are nonsense devotees. At the time of death, then there's a big surprise, how they passed away under the conditions of how they passed away and all this stuff. Yeah. So this movement is Golokera Prema Dan Harinam Sankirtan. This is an import. This Krishna consciousness is an import from the spiritual world, and we like imports.
But people don't want to go.
We like imports. If people don't want to go, it's like, yes, I agree with you. Not that people don't like to go, some people don't like to go because in some cases they don't know what is, what is in there for them. They don't know what is there. People don't want to go to the unknown. And that is why we have to preach and let people know, look, there is death here. You're complaining about wars. You're complaining about marginalization. You're complaining about this, about that. There's another world where you will not experience all this discrimination based on the color of your body. You will not experience anything that is not desirable. Krishna, in the Krishna Loka, Goloka Vrindavan, everything is, everybody has access to everything. There's no discrimination about, someone is a billionaire, someone is a trillionaire or whatever. Everyone is treated equally and everyone has access to all of the facilities. So except we invigorate our efforts in spreading this message of Krishna consciousness. Some people, yes, there are some people who may not change their intention to stay in this world. But if we reach out to some people and give them a detailed exploration about what is in there for them, they may change their minds. People don't like to change their status quo. That is why even in corporations, when you talk about change management or change initiatives, people don't like change. Because they don't know what is going to happen. So they resist change. Change resistance is a big thing in the corporate world.
Yeah.
The same thing in spirituality. It's like a change initiative. When we take into spiritual life, we are initiating the change in our lives. And therefore, to sustain that change to a logical conclusion, to the point of liberation, is a big challenge. Because we encounter people, we encounter different type of people, different type of conditions that may even shake our conviction. So yes, what we need to do is to help out in every way possible to reach out to people so that they can become exposed to this whole glamour of the spiritual world.
So we need to be convinced, we need to practice.
Sure.
And we need to share this message, educate about the spiritual world, existence of spiritual world, Lord Krishna. Then we need to work on training and preparing them to go back to Godhead.
Yep.
Anything our job.
Yep.
Thank you. Okay, so it's 8:30. Anyone has final questions before we wind up? Okay, Maharaj.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for coming.
Thank you.
Participate
Thank
in
you, Hare
this Krishna
Krishna.
consciousness.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.